Welcome back to Learn Astrology with Mary. My name is Mary English. You can find me at www.maryenglish.com, maryenglish.co.uk and UK Astrology. And today, I am celebrating, and I'd love you to celebrate with me. This is episode 500. Now, I've got to say, I never imagined when I started this podcast that I would still be going nearly 10 years later, and that I would also reach episode 500. I mean, that wasn't anywhere near my consciousness. So I'm going to take you back in time today to how the podcast started and give you a little bit of background info. And I'm also sort of wondering, I wonder how many charts that we've looked at over the years. I've got all these lovely volunteers that have sent theirs in. And some of you have been listening for years, and some of you have become friends. And I still get excited when I discover something new in a chart. So I think it's nice that we've got to 500 and you're still with me, and I think that's lovely. Now, I don't know if you've been with me since the beginning. If you have and you've never contacted me, can you just ping me over a little email, mary@maryenglish.co.uk, and just go hello, and I can go hello back, because just to let you know where everybody is listening. Now, this is the top sort of 30 countries that listen to the podcast. We've got USA is number one, and this is on my stats, so this is fact. So USA is number one, UK is number two, Canada's number three, and then we go Australia, Germany, Netherlands, New Zealand, Ireland, Poland, Belgium, Brazil, South Africa, Israel, Italy, Mexico, Portugal, Argentina, Singapore, Indonesia, Austria, Bulgaria, United Arab Emirates, Japan, hello, my son just went on holiday to you, Romania, Colombia, Thailand, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Malaysia, Vietnam, Iran, and Taiwan. Now, those are the top countries. There's still plenty of other countries that people are listening to, so I'm doing this in a wide embrace to everybody that's listening today. Now, I don't know how many people will listen to this, and I don't know, because I've been waffling on it for so many weeks, you might have decided not to listen to episode 500. But we do have a competition. We do have a 500th episode gift, and we also have now reached more than 500,000 downloads. It's actually approaching 600,000, but just to be on the safe side, so nobody has a go at my stats, which are there. You can see them if you want to. So that's 500,000. So I'm really chuffed about that. And people still, inverted commas, listen to the first 20 episodes that teach you astrology. It sort of fades out a bit when we get to something like episode 200 and stuff. But anyway, we have competitions today, so relax and listen, and we will go through things. Now, I started the podcast in 2016, started thinking about doing a podcast in 2016, and I can't even remember what prompted me, because I didn't actually myself listen to an awful lot of podcasts. I wasn't like a podcast junkie, but somehow or other, and that I can't remember, it might have been, I don't know what it was, I came across a book called How to Podcast 2016, 4 Simple Steps to Broadcast Your Message to the Entire Connected Planet. It was a very, big promise that the author made. So 4 Simple Steps to Broadcast Your Message to the Entire Connected Planet. What's it? I can't read the words underneath there. Even if you don't really know what podcasting is. Yeah, that was it, because I think that was the thing that attracted me. So this is 2016 that I bought the ebook. It cost me $2.99, and it was written by a guy called Paul Colligan, Colligan. And I listened, I read it, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'd love to do a podcast on astrology. So I read the book, I emailed him, and this is in 2016. I emailed him, and I sort of pointed out something that's one of the links he'd sent sent me to a weird place, and did he know that? Blah, 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 blah. Read the book, and then I started the podcast using the software that came. I run a Mac Mini, so I'm on my third Mac Mini now, but I ran a Mac Mini, which I still run now, and I had one of those sort of, it looked like airport microphone-y things that go down by the side of your face. I still got some YouTube videos with them on there. So I started with the equipment that came with my Mac. It didn't come with it, I bought it, because I used to have a bit of software that was like dictation software. That was grand. I can't get that anymore, but anyway, it was good back in the day. And because I was doing online consultations with clients, I knew that the system that I got worked, otherwise the clients would never be able to hear me. But when I recorded the first 20 episodes, it was a really, really early review that somebody wrote saying they loved it, they thought it was good, but they were writing the review only so that I'd go up in the rankings or whatever, and then I'd be able to afford to get some proper equipment, which is what I have now. So I've always used Audacity, which is a free downloady thing that you can do everything in. So I've used Audacity for all my audiobooks, and I've used Audacity for the podcast for me to talk to you. And then at some point, I can't remember exactly when, but I'd done the first episodes. And then later on, for a birthday present, my husband and my son chipped in and got me this posh microphone, which I'm talking to you on. And then at a later date, I also got some proper headphones, noise cancelling, so I can't hear anything else going on outside. And I just have to tell you that I'm recording this today where the internal temperature in my office is stupidly high. I haven't got the fan on because I know if I have the fan on, then you're not going to hear a word. So I am suffering and sacrificing my chilledness with the fan so that you can have a super episode today. And I just want to say right at the beginning, if I hadn't said it already, thank you very much for listening. I certainly appreciate it, and I love being able to chat with you every week, because in case you hadn't guessed, I am a chatty person. Ha ha. So right at the beginning, I read the book. I thought I'd start. I just started with how I teach astrology. So the astrology that I've always taught, because I'd already done that before I started the podcast, starts with the chart shape. So if you go to the early episodes 1 to 20, which are still listed on wherever it is you get your podcasts from, those ones literally teach you everything that you know in astrology. So, and it's the same format that when I'm teaching astrology 101, because I don't know about you, but when I first got into astrology, I didn't even want to get into it. Looking at a chart, my brain just melted. Like, what is this? What are all those squiggles? What are all those lines? What does it even mean? Why is it a circle? And I'd been to psychic events, and I'd seen people, they'd pop up with their little laptops and sit there and talk to clients, or they'd have printouts of charts and stuff. And I was bored as hell with it. I thought, no, I'm never going to do that. Oh, how funny. I ended up doing that, which actually has happened to me quite a lot. Something that I really don't like and I'm not interested in, I eventually end up doing. So I've been doing this for 30 years. But originally when I used to go to psychic fairs and I'd see the astrologers there, I was like, what is it all about? Because I just thought astrology was the sun sign. You know, I knew a little bit because my auntie was into it. I knew I had some in Gemini. Anyway, that's the backstory to the podcast. So I started uploading my episodes, and at some awful time, so I started in January 2017, having started recording them in 2016. I cannot find the absolute upload date. I looked everywhere and I didn't write it down. Anyway, I uploaded a number of episodes, subscribed to Libsyn, which is the podcast company that I use. And I was doing an episode and I clicked save, or I was moving something around. And back then I accidentally deleted, and I still to this day don't know how I did it, but I deleted all of the episodes that had been uploaded that weekend. And it wasn't a Mercury retrograde because I was born during one. I went into an absolute blind panic. So I contacted the customer services at Libsyn. Oh, what do I do? And, where have they all gone? And it was my own fault because I'd accidentally clicked. And you know when you click something in a line and it clicks everything? I think it was something like that. And doof, every episode got. But luckily, I had them all on my hard drive, and I then spent a whole weekend re-uploading them and cursing considerably. So that is why now when you look at the date on there where it says that the first episode happened, that's because those early episodes were re-uploaded. Okay, get me? Because I'm born during a Mercury retrograde, and I do in my life have to go back and redo things, and we are Mercury retrograde now, so I completely appreciate that. I'll probably upload this podcast episode and it'll disappear into the ether and you'll never hear it. So the stats tell me that people are listening, but unless you email me in, I don't know if you are. Now, talking about emailing in, I've had a lovely lady, and I won't mention her name, but she knows who she is, and she has volunteered her chart. So first of all, I thought, oh, well, I'll use her chart in an upcoming episode. And I thought, no, I'm going to use a real live human being's chart on this episode, because on this episode, the competition that I'm running to celebrate 500 episodes is I put up the chart and you reverse engineer it. Now, we have done reverse engineering. I think we've done it a few times before. We definitely did it in episode 311, and I might have done it at another time. But anyway, this time, and the thing was, when I did it the first time, I got a lot of people responding to it because they quite liked the challenge. And as I don't do it every day of the week because, you know, there's other things to cover. But because this is episode 500, and trust me, I do listen to people that email into me. So if you tell me something, trust me, I'm always listening. I had one lovely listener who I don't know why I did it, but in one episode, or I think I asked him personally, you know, can you give me some feedback on the way I do my episodes, because I don't know if what I'm yakking to you is of any use at all. And he very kindly, because I think if I remember rightly, he's a Virgo, he did email me in, or maybe he got something in Virgo. He could have been a Saggy. But anyway, this is a long time ago. He emailed me in and he gave me the most marvellous critique of what I could and should be doing. One of which is that I have a plan somewhere to do it each episode, which I have got today, but I don't always have. So we're running a competition. There's going to be a chart. So the chart will be uploaded to the show notes. To get to the show notes, and you're listening on YouTube, because you'll never get the charts on YouTube, and I apologise, but it's just the way YouTube is. You go to astromary.libsyn, which is where it's hosted.com. So astromary.libsyn.com. It's always the latest episode that comes up on the podcast. Whilst if you're listening on any of the platforms, they've been done in such a way that you can only ever start at episode number 1, because the whole point of this episode is to help you learn astrology. I'm not teaching you, I'm helping you learn. So this chart we've got, so thank you very much to Meow Meow, who's sent her chart in. I'll describe the chart to you and what's in it, so that if you cannot see the chart, if you've listened to enough episodes, you'll know how to do it. Now, I could just read down the list, sun, this, moon, that, blah, 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 but I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to do it as if you were looking at the chart. So imagine the chart in your mind. The ascendant is 7 degrees Sagittarius. So this is a person that has their ascendant at 7 degrees Sagittarius. Now, there's nothing in the first house. First house is empty, second house is empty, third house is empty, using equal house. Fourth house contains Chiron, retrograde, 22 degrees Pisces, near enough conjunct to Saturn, 23 degrees Pisces and 18 minutes and 33 seconds, if you want to be completely precise. Retrograde, so Saturn natal is retrograde in the 4th house. 5th house empty. 6th house has got the North Node, 16 degrees into the sign of Taurus. 7th house empty. 8th house has Moon in Leo, 5 degrees, 33 minutes, 55 seconds, and Jupiter, 4 degrees, Leo, 3 minutes, 44 seconds. So we've got Jupiter and Moon conjunct in the sign of Cancer in the 8th house. 9th house is empty. 10th house has a lovely stellium containing, so I'll read them back to front. Mars, 13 degrees Virgo, Pluto, 20 degrees, 1 minute, 28 seconds Virgo, conjunct Uranus, 23 degrees Virgo, 4 minutes, 28 seconds. The MC, because I'm using equal house, is also in the 10th house, but that is, MC is 5 degrees Libra, okay? Nothing in the 11th, and then the 12th house, the house of the Hermit, the house of connection to the divine, the house of, it's not secrets because that's the 8th house. Well, actually, they've got planets in the 8th and the 12th, so we've got don't pry. But we've got the sun there, Scorpio, which is definitely don't pry, and it's conjunct to Venus and Neptune. So let me give you the numbers. So we start with Venus. Venus is 11 degrees Scorpio. The sun is 12 degrees Scorpio and 30 minutes, 32 seconds. And Neptune, because conjunct Neptune, 21 degrees Scorpio, 33 minutes and 25 seconds. And also in the 12th house, the stellium that she has, because this is a lady, includes Mercury, 3 degrees, Sagittarius, 7 minutes, 3 seconds. Okay, so your challenge now, I hope you've written down what you've heard, or you whiz over to the show notes and look at the chart, is that you have to find a person born on that date. So they're born on whatever the date is. Obviously Scorpio, you know when Scorpio is. And the moon is conjunct Jupiter. Okay, so and you need to be able to do that. You've got to whiz over to astro.com. You've got to go to, let me talk you through it. So how do I do this, Mary? Well, you obviously have to listen to 311 because I explain how to do it. Because this is a competition. I'll tell you what the prize is in a minute, but I'm holding back to tell you exactly what it is in a minute. So you go over to astro.com. You click on all about astrology. Then you click on ephemeris, and then you just underneath that where it says 9,000 years ephemeris, you click on that. And then, because you're going to have to work backwards to do this, I'm not telling you how to do it, you're going to have to go back and listen to 311, okay? You've got to go to the right century, you've got to go to the right year, and it might take you a time, and you can't ask AI, okay? AI will not give you the correct answer. You're going to have to do some work, but episode 311 explain how to do it. Now, if you manage to do it and you're reasonably confident in your answer, that you've got a chart now that has a Sagittarius ascendant, sun in Scorpio, moon in Leo, and Mercury in Saggy, okay, so you've got those are the most important bits. If you've got that correct and you've got all your outer planets in the same degrees and signs and whatever, you will also have to work out by adjusting your chart that you've created in your astro.com account where in the world this person is likely to live to make it exact. So that'll take you a bit of time as well. And your reward for doing that is a free astrological reading with me. Okay, so that's worth 77 UK pounds, which is approximately $103, and it's approximately 90 euros. So if you manage to get, you have to get everything correct. There's no excuses. You have to get the location the person was born, the date that they were born, and the time. If you manage to do all of that, then you get a free reading. Now, if you get a couple of those things correct, then I will offer you a discount, probably a 50% discount. I think it'd be fair enough. But you need to get at least 2 of the things correct to get 50%. If you get all of them correct, then you get a free reading with me, and I think that's a fair prize for episode 500. And also, you know, you've been listening with me, even if you've only been listening for 6 or 7 weeks. I think it's lovely what we've created together, because it's not me. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast if nobody bloody listened to it. I'd just be sort of talking out into the ether, and it'd just be going bing, and nothing would be happening. So the competition today is to reverse engineer. I mean, there's another way of looking at it. It's like you're going to be a detective and you're going to find out the exact date that this person was born and the time, because the time of day they were born, and the location. If you manage to get all of those three things and you are the first person to email me with the correct answer, then you get the free reading. Okay, anybody else that comes after that first person that gives me all the correct info will get discounts and nice, lovely things. Yeah. Now, just for listening to that episode, you can also get a giftie from Auntie Mary. I'm offering 50% off my ebook, The Astrology of Lovers. I've uploaded it to a website called PayHip that is based in the UK, so the link to that will be in the show notes. So even if you're on YouTube, that link will come through. What doesn't come through on YouTube is charts, but blurb is in there. And I'm just going to take a second break because it's very hot in here. I'll be back in a tick. Now, to get to your discounted copy of The Astrology of Lovers, you've got to go to payhip.com, so payhip.com/Mary Lou English. And Mary spelled Mary. Lou is a capital LOU, and then English is a capital E. If you go to that address, you'll see the book on there. It's £3.55. This is UK money at the moment. And there's a code that I'm going to read out for you, which I won't put in the show notes because unfortunately the show notes could be sat there for absolutely ages. So I'm going to read out the code for you if you want to download and get the audiobook, The Astrology of Lovers, for 50% off. Okay, so here we go. It's the number 3, the capital letter T, the capital letter O, and then another O, then the capital letter D, then a 0, then X, as in xylophone, capitals, V as in Victor, capitals, B as in Betty, capitals, and E as in me, English. Okay, so it's 3TOOD0XVBE. That's your discount code. It's valid until the end of July 2026. You add it in the box and then boof, £3.55, which it is at the moment, you're going to get it half of that, which if you want to know what the maths is, let me tell you, £1.77 and 50p. Now, you might get charged VAT. It depends where you live, blah, blah, blah. There could be VAT because unfortunately there is VAT charges for things, value added tax. It will detect where you live and you'll be able to pay. It's all safe and it's a lovely platform. It's not the same as PayPal. It's a UK based platformy thing that I'm trialing out at the moment, and I have already had some live human beings make purchases on there and check that the code works. So Auntie Mary will tell you it's fine. So if you whiz over there, you can get your book and you can get it at 50% off, and you can have that until the end of July. So whenever you're listening to this, if you want a copy of it, because the nice thing about The Astrology of Lovers, if you haven't read it already, there's a whole load of information in there about synastry, composite charts, how to create a chart, what's the marriage bit of your chart, babies, blah, blah, blah. Not that that necessarily shows in your chart, but it tells you, whether or not you're compatible with someone, have you found the right person, how to find someone. There's lots of, and equally in there, which makes it super, super valuable, there are in that ebook 2 downloadable episodes that again are free only to podcast listeners, that you can download it. So you get the book, okay, so this is only for people that are listening to podcast. If you get the book, there's 2 links at the end of the book to the hypnosis tracks on my website, and they are, one of them is like finding your soulmate, and the other one is, the tracks are called Attracting Your Soulmate. So if you haven't got one, that's worth a listen. And the other one is called Your Wise Self. Now, these are hypnotherapy tracks, so they put you in a nice relaxed state, and they'll... Your Wise Self is lovely. I didn't write any of these, but they're beautiful. They absolutely recommend listening to them. So it's worth paying £1.77 plus a teeny bit of VAT to be able to listen to those tracks in and of themselves. But I want to be able to say thank you to you. And you know, some people, I perfectly understand, don't want to email me. They just want to listen to the episode and then go off and have their day. That I totally understand. However, I think it's good that I thank you in some way for me achieving getting to episode 500, because just in case you didn't know, this means now that this podcast is the longest running astrology podcast in the UK. No one else in the UK has run an astrology podcast for 500 episodes for the length that it's nearly, well, it is 9 years, but actually it's 10 years technically, but because of the uploading problems or whatever, it's a long amount of time. The podcast has been going, so 500 episode makes it the longest running astrology podcast in the UK. And again, you're the people that I need to thank for that. So lots of hugs and kisses. Now, that's not the end of the competitions. There's one more competition, and for this one, it's a 50% discount on any type of reading, or even if you want to learn astrology with me, then you'll get a 50% discount on all of your lessons if you manage to solve this one. I want you to let me know by email, because you're going to have to search and find it, which episode it was that I talked about overwhelm in the chart. Now, some of the more later episodes of the podcast have got in the numbering system the description, which is what I'm doing today, episode 500. Wonderful detective, whatever. I haven't decided what I'm going to title it yet, but there'll be something about the reverse engineering. But those episodes, this is a while back, don't have written in the numbering system a description of what the podcast episode is all about. So you're going to have to do some searching. You might even remember it, but in that particular episode I talk about overwhelm in the chart. So these are the people that email me for readings. They're not necessarily podcast listeners, and in that particular episode I'm talking about being overwhelmed, which when you go into practice, if you're not already, that will be something that a number of clients or numbers of clients could possibly be suffering from. So I want you to let me know what episode number that was on. Okay, once again, it's a competition. You get 50% off a reading, any sort of reading, hypnotherapy or whatever, anything that I offer, you get 50% off, including Learn Astrology with Mary. So that's one-on-one sessions, and you will get 50% off every lesson. There are 6 lessons. Okay, so they're one-on-one lessons. So there's lots and lots of things to be giving as prizes today, but that prize is again only for the first person that gets to me with the answers. I have to be a bit discriminatory about what I do, so it's literally the first one goes bing into my inbox, and then you will be the winner. Now, the last thing I'm so happy to tell you about, my publisher that published the Zodiac series of books, I don't know if you ever read them, that I started with How to Survive a Pisces, because I am a Pisces. I know what a nightmare a Pisces can be if they're not reformed, like myself. And I wrote a book basically about my sign of the zodiac. I thought it was a wonderful idea. I'd write a book about Pisces, and so that anybody that knew a Pisces would be able to not fall off the edge of a cliff with them. So luckily, the publisher that I submitted it to, I've probably told this story before, but I'll tell you again, it's a lovely story, and it's true. The publisher I submitted it to, he himself, which I didn't know at the time, is a sun sign Pisces. So this is the guy that owns the publishing company that had approached me previously about writing a book on indigos, and they didn't like what I submitted, so I self-published it. But anyway, long story. I submitted it to them, and it's How to Survive a Pisces. The chappie that read it is a Pisces himself, and he replied back to me. And he said, yes, I'll accept the book, but only on the understanding that I don't just want one book off you, I want a series. And I thought, well, I've written a book about Pisces. obviously I'll now have to do each sign of the zodiac, which is what I did. So I wrote for this publisher now. So I didn't write this for myself. I wrote it for the publisher. 12 books. I'd already submitted one. I wrote 11 more books going backwards through the zodiac because I thought, well, I can't do Pisces and then go straight onto Aries. That would be weird. Let me go backwards. I was born during a Mercury retrograde. So went backwards through the zodiacs. In case anybody's wondering why my newsletter subscribers know this, but why did I go backwards through the zodiac? It's because I'd started with Pisces, which is the last sign, so I had to obviously go backwards. That was just the logic as far as I could make out. So I did one for every sign of the zodiac. Now they've been published for quite a while. I think the first one I submitted, the copyright for it is 2008. So the books have been around for a long time. They still sell. They're still good sellers. Scorpio being the one that's bought the most. And obviously the ebooks sell more than the physical books. So I'd asked years ago my publisher, could I, because I had all the podcasting equipment, could I please make them into audiobooks? And the answer was yes, and it will cost you £100 per book. And I thought, that's £1,200 I don't have. I don't even have that today, so I wouldn't be able to do that. So I just thought, anyway, the publisher company themselves, so the guy that accepted the book, everything's sort of been changed. The name of the publisher has changed. Different people are running it. And so I asked again a few months ago, what can I do? I'd love to be able to make the audio books. And so I was told that because they didn't produce an audio book within 6 months of me having my original contract, that now the rights to the rights to audio book in it had reverted back to me. I don't know how this happened, and my contracts haven't changed. But anyway, I thought, oh, great. So they're quite happy with it. So I am now in the process of producing each of those physical books, which are physical books and ebooks. They're also going to be audiobooks. So Auntie Mary has been gaily recording How to Survive a Pisces that I have submitted to In Audio. They're the publishing company that I use to do my audiobooks with, which 2 of which I have already, which is the Astrology of Lovers, and the other one is the Astrology of Indigos. Those are already audiobooks. Don't ask me where you can find them, probably on Google or somewhere. Anyway, I have submitted it to them, and today you're going to hear a clip of part of the How to Survive a Pisces, because when it's up and ready and all the rest of it, you'll be able to listen to the book now, because I know if you're listening to a podcast, you like listening to things. And there we go. So that's something I'm really, really happy to share with you. You are the first person that will have heard that, because nobody else knows that I've been busily doing it. I have mentioned it on my newsletter. I might have mentioned it once on my Instagram, but nobody paid any attention. So I'm telling you now, so it's in your ears. How to Survive a Pisces, and the whole series of books, so that's one for every sign of the zodiac, are also going to be available as audiobooks. Dun, 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 dun. So when it finally comes out, and I've submitted it and it's not out yet, it can take up to 20 days from submission day. But when it's out, obviously I'll give you the links and tell you all about it. But today you're going to listen to a little clip of it. As long as you can understand how a Pisces works, then your expectations will be in line with what they can deliver. Don't ask a double Pisces to run a marathon or work in an abattoir. I'm sure they can do these things, but they won't do them in earnest or enjoy them. Just the same as any other sign, a Pisces can do a job that is boring or repetitive or soulless, but they'll be working against the grain. This book is about how to get the best from your Pisces and enhance yours and their lives. The best definition of a Pisces that I have found is by Felix Lyle in The Instant Astrologer, and includes the keywords sensitive, receptive, compassionate, imaginative, self-sacrificing, impressionable, passive, escapist, acquiescent, confused, and over-emotional. All of these qualities will be evident as we go further into discovering the Pisces in your life, and we'll be discussing how to cope with these attributes, how to understand them, and how to make the best use of those character traits. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's a little clip of How to Survive a Pisces. If you haven't read it and you are a Pisces, I do recommend that you listen to it. And even if you're not a Pisces, it wasn't actually written for Pisces themselves. It was written for all the other signs of the zodiac, so that you would be able to understand I'm talking about my sign now, yeah? Because the principle of me even writing the first book, was so that my husband could understand me a little bit better, and maybe my child would, but he doesn't even like astrology, so that's never going to happen. But hey, that was the principle behind it, and it's fun. It's fun to listen to. There's fun bits in there. Trust me. It's as entertaining as you might find the podcast. It's equally entertaining to be listening to the audiobook of How to Survive a Pisces. All the other signs will be happening this year, and maybe every episode or so I'll go, oh, this one's ready, and maybe I'll offer discounts. I don't know, I haven't decided that yet, but the audiobooks will be out as well. So today is lots of things to share with you. We've got the reverse engineer chart. You'll get a gift. You've got 50% off the Astrology of Lovers, only until the end of July. The discount code's not going to my newsletter. It's only going on the podcast. You'll also get, if you can find out the episode where I talk about overwhelm in the chart, you'll get a 50% reading with me, and that can also include any lessons, plural, with me. And we're at episode 500, and I want to thank you for listening. It really is nice to, even if there was just one person out there listening, yeah. When I went through my divorce, one of the things we were talking about in mediation, I was talking about when I'd gone to play at a gig, and it was an outdoor event that a friend of mine had organised, and I was on early, so one of those support acty things, and I happened to say in our mediation / counselling, I didn't know that he was going to disappear, but anyway, talking about my husband, and the only two people in the audience was my son and my then husband, and I'd said to the person that we were in mediation with, that was enough for me. There were a couple of other people that were listening as well, but that was what was important. As long as there was at least one person listening to what I was doing, I was a happy bunny. And equally on this podcast, now I know there's more than one of you, there's a couple of hundred of you listen to each episode. I'm terribly honoured that you are listening to me waffling, and I really want to give back to you something for being with me. I don't know if you've been with me since the beginning. If you have, then ping me an email, let me know. I know the lady who's shared her chart with me today, I know she's listening today. So just even if it was just one or two people listening, I know that then that makes it worth me talking. So I really want to say thank you to you, and thank you for being with me when I get to 500. Can you tell them I'm excited? So we have got other things coming up. We've got some really fantastic things coming on. We've got an interview with the lady that makes the astrology diary that I've mentioned a few times, so I'm going to be interviewing her. We're hopefully having Robert Curry. I'm sending out an invite to him, and we're going to have a full episode with the person whose chart is on today. We're going to be going through their chart as well, so we've got lots coming up. So I hope you have a fab week, and I'll be back next week. Bye bye now.